It's my privilege and pleasure to invite our panel on stage. Mr. Rajkumar Jain is Managing Director, Bonjour Socks. He is a highly respected and strongly principled Managing Director of brand Bonjour, one of the largest socks manufacturing companies in India. An engineer by qualification, he adopts global technological advancements to drive innovation at Bonjour. The brand was established in 1988 and has gained traction due to backward integration of in-house yarn manufacturing. In 2007, Mr. Rajkumar Jain launched a legging brand called Vami, which has since expanded its portfolio to include blouses, trousers, gymwear, loungewear and wool. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first panelist, Mr. Rajkumar Jain. So he'll finish his call and join us. Mr. Sachin Gupta is Managing Director, Bodycare International. Mr. Sachin Gupta is an MBA and gold medalist. He embarked on his journey with Bodycare International in 2000, playing a pivotal role in expanding the company's footprint and forging key alliances with global giants like Walt Disney, Warner Brothers, and Sanrio. Currently Managing Director at Bodycare International Limited, Mr. Gupta oversees multiple critical functions including finance, human resources, research and development, production, procurement, and new projects. Beyond his contributions to the company, he is actively involved in IAAI, where he represents and advocates for the industry's growth and development, even while propelling Bodycare International to newer heights in the intimate apparel section. Please welcome Mr. Sachin Gupta. Welcome, sir. Mr. Harinarayan Madhavan is co-founder and chief executive officer Underlinen, with over 29 years of business leadership experience in sales, distribution, modern trade, institutional and CSD CPG channels of FMCG, semi-durables, pesticides, lighting, apparel and beverages. He has significantly contributed to the growth and development of the businesses which he has been associated with. He provides value through progress planning, strategic partnerships, guidance, and stakeholder management, leading to enhanced productivity in revenue and profitability, and a robust organizational alignment for positive business output. A warm welcome to Mr. Harinarayan Madhavan. Welcome, sir. Mr. Pravin Agarwal, after his MBA and an early career in financial research, risk management and banking, took the leap into entrepreneurship in 2018 and founded Savvy, a brand dedicated to transforming the lingerie shopping experience. Guided by the philosophy Inner Beauty Matters, Savvy features a range of globally renowned brands and exclusive in-house labels, catering to diverse styles and body types. By integrating online convenience with immersive in-store experiences, Savvy has made lingerie shopping effortless, enjoyable, and empowering. Over the past 7 years, Savvy has expanded into a thriving retail chain with 18 stores across Delhi, Gurgaon, Faridabad, Mohali, and Chandigarh. Please welcome Mr. Pravin Agarwal. Jenny Andrews is a multiple award-winning experiential designer and the creative visionary behind StudioJ, where innovation meets imagination, where brands are not just seen but felt, and where spaces tell something compelling that engage, inspire, and drive business success. Jenny has partnered with some of the world's most renowned brands to shape their in-store experiences. Over the years, StudioJ has curated numerous award-winning designs that not only captivate audiences, but also drive measurable results. StudioJ's work has been featured on leading media platforms and in design publications, both Indian and global, as well as on internationally acclaimed design blogs. Please welcome Ms. Jenny Andrews. Welcome, ma'am. Mr. Milind Agarwal is Director Balaji Hosiery, XLU. He has turned a family-run business into a corporate retail brand, armed with an MSc in entrepreneurship and innovation and business development from the University of Westminster. He has leveraged innovation, changed store layouts and displays to international standards, and brought in SaaS or SaaS models to enable data analysis and data-backed decisions. It is his ambition to take the brand pan-India on various platforms such as retail stores, B2B supply, export, and online. Please warmly welcome Mr. Milind Agarwal. And ladies and gentlemen, to moderate this discussion, we have Mr. Puneet Arora, Associate Director at Wazir Advisors. Puneet, all yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone had a great lunch and feeling refreshed. To begin with, as the theme of the session today is the intimate apparel industry. Since it's going through a fascinating changes and everything, changing consumer preferences, digital disruption, and the rise of experience-driven retail. My question to all of the panelists today is very generic. What do you think how this intimate Indian apparel retailing is changing? So it's a very generic question, but I just want your thoughts on that, starting with you, sir.
Well, one of those industries where there is a consistent growth. That way we are all fortunate to be part of this industry. Last year especially was one of the better years. I think after the pandemic there was a slowdown, but last year again the numbers have started picking up. And so long as the human anatomy is going to look like this industry is going to be one of those industries where we'll have consistent growth. And with the premiumization, there are two kinds of growths in this, the organic growth as well as the inorganic growth. I'm talking about the number of new customers coming into the system, plus there is a hastening change from the unorganized to the organized. So both ways the industry is benefiting. I would say that better days ahead and a very promising sector to be in.
Yeah, thanks. Harinarayan ji rightly said that the industry is evolving, and there is a lot of what today morning Prashant ji of Wazir showed us, that the possibility is about 8% CAGR. And 2031, the numbers would be almost 2.5 times of what it were pre-COVID, which is into few industries. Though this has been there for long, but still I personally feel there is a lot to do in this industry. When you talk of the retail points, when you talk of the technologies, when you talk of the styling, there's a lot to do. And there is a place for many, many players together. Because today, with the rural people coming into the mainstream of buying, with the online penetration, the sudden volume growth is exponentially possible. So I'm very positive about the buying pattern, and every company who's making the right product with the right capabilities, the possibilities are immense.
As far as our industry is concerned, obviously there is no doubt about it. It has a lot of potential and it's growing well. And as Rajkumar ji rightly said, it will touch around 2.5 times in next 4-5 years. So the idea is here, the industry is growing and it is growing very rapidly. But side by side, there are certain challenges also it is posting. Right now, if you see from earlier days when we used to manufacture the products and distribute it, there was only a simple traditional channel. And it was very simple to execute the things. Right now, the things are becoming more and more complex. Like there are different channels which are operating right now. We talk about the traditional general trade, the modern trade is coming up, e-commerce is another areas. And because of this social media and all these things, consumers are also becoming more and more aware. Because of that, it is posing a different kind of challenges. Right now, if you see, there are markets in the markets itself. So there are differentiation between the different so they have a different expectations from in terms of product, in terms of services. And it is becoming a difficult to understand, and it is changing so fast. Practically, you reach to a level and then you understand that whatever you have, it is changed completely. So you have to restart everything. So obviously there is a chances. So anybody who's willing to get into this industry, there are a lot of chances available, lot of opportunities available. Side by side, one has to be quite agile using technology, whether it is AI or your ERP systems or collaborations with the different industries, players, and like freelancing is also one of the areas where you have to collaborate with the people, like in terms of suppose design sense, which is also growing. So there are so different aspects in our, if we are talking product line, you may not be best in all, so collaboration may also be required. So and anyways, like industry is growing and retail has its own challenges, but still if somebody is able to solve it, whosoever is going to solve it will be able to sustain and grow.
Yeah, thanks. I think my perspective would be a slightly, different compared to what it is in the business side. When we look at different industries and, coming from a retail architecture background and experience, I think intimate wear and for both men and women, I think drastically has grown what we've seen in the last decade. And in terms of customer experience, I think geography-wise also, there's a certain, it's not common throughout. South works very differently from north, north works very differently from west, and east is also quite different. So looking at the kind of consumer interfaces or expectations that the market is also expecting from a retail design perspective, we kind of do design intervention which is required in every space or location. So that's where I as a design entrepreneur, that's the strategy that we take when we, work on spaces.
We have to talk a lot about change, right, rather than growth. Yes, so I think the biggest difference in terms of change has been, this has been taken as a category individually now. Earlier, it was just a part of business, where, you go into stores and lingerie and nightwear was just part of a business where it was just kept in a store. Now, like we've been this in the past 25 years, but a lot of new brands have come up now where they're taking this category on an exclusive level. The new ranges which have been developed under this new categories which have come up that could be related to swim and resort, and in terms of maternity, in terms of travel as well. So these were some changes we have seen recently where a lot of new brands have come up. Like one of my friends, he's just sitting right here, and his name is Yash, and he owns a brand called Kavera. So this has enabled D2C brands to come up offline. This has become a new age brand altogether. And, things like this I've never seen in this industry in the past at least 5-6 years. Nothing has come up of this sort. So I think this category altogether is being taken up as an individual level now rather than just being a part of business. So this is one of the biggest changes, at least on my personal level. And yeah.
Since you're a bit late, my question to you now, directly to you. How do MBOs, since you represent an MBO, so how do MBOs contribute to the brand visibility and the distribution in the intimate category section?
I believe MBOs plays a very vital role in terms of reaching out to the consumer, because EBOs is always not viable in tier 2 and tier 3 markets. Again, in terms of customer footfalls, you can reach to customer very easily through MBOs in compared to EBOs, because you have multiple brands. In EBOs, it's always like your brand, your loyal customer will reach out to you. But to explore new customers, to try new customers, I think MBO plays a very important role. And brands, over the years, the brands sitting here, they know is very well that how MBO has helped them to grow, to reach out to consumer, which is not possible through EBOs.
Also, what I understand is having an MBO, you get to meet the real customer every day.
Absolutely.
The first-hand feedback is the shortest possible way to improve on your offerings.
One more
be
thing,
it the price points, colors, or designs, or whatever.
One more thing, Indian consumer are very value conscious, and they like to compare products, which is only possible in MBOs. You can compare brands, and for new brands, it's very important to go through MBOs, because it's very difficult to set up a EBO network. So I think MBO plays a very vital and very important role.
My next question, sorry.
I don't know how many people know about these two gentlemen here. I'm a big fan of what Milind's father Deepak has created. I have spoken about it in several such panels. One of the key success factors for the MBO business is to choose the right market. And both these gentlemen, in fact, when I saw Savvy name, I was expecting Gautam actually. So, they have created a niche, and in women lingerie, whether it's the northern part of the country, it is Savvy, and in the southern part of the country, it is Balaji XLU. They have created such a niche that I worked in Jockey for a fair number of years. And in Jockey, whichever new product line that we used to introduce, we used to give it to our exclusive brand outlets. So after visiting these two stores, I always used to say that, there are these high-end lingerie stores where the actual consumer walks in. So they go to these lingerie stores to experience all the brands. So unless and until we vie for that space in these outlets and gain better shelf share, just having it in the EBOs alone will not do. I think both Savvy and Balaji XLU are remarkable success stories, and may their tribe further prosper, because these are the kind of outlets which actually is the reason for the MBOs to gain in confidence. Otherwise, MBOs are not one of those sectors which are doing very well, but they have chosen the right niche and they are formidable now.
I just want to add something here. It's not the MBO is not doing good. It's actually the unorganized, the people who are not doing MBO properly. See, in India, lingerie is always a hush hush product. It's not been, it has not grown like ethnic or other categories. So lingerie stores are very small stores, they are not properly, ambience are not good. You don't have the entire range. So I think MBOs are the future for lingerie. If you see the people like Shoppers Stop or Lifestyles, what they have done in apparels and fashion, I think there is enough space for people, for MBOs to grow in India.
One question to you on that part. I was discussing with Jenny just before lunch. What do you see the trend in the MBO design element? Because in the tier 2, tier 3 shops, or let's say the neighborhood shops where you go and buy menswear or women innerwear or whatever. So how it's evolving? Jenny could add few things, but you can also add a bit. The trend from the northern and the southern India, how it's different, and if we compare the tier 2, tier 3 towns of the southern India and the west and the north, how it's different?
See, with the exposure of social media and rising disposable income, I think people are now exposed to quality products, and they want to pay for premium. They are ready to pay for premium, and which resulted in this stores in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. They are now ready to experiment. They are now ready to add brands which were like premium brands or only metro city brands earlier. So now you will see any brand which is available in Delhi or Mumbai are available in Jamnagar or any small Guwahati or any small cities in India. So I think tier 2, tier cities are evolving, and not just evolving, I think they are bursting. And you will see very soon, I believe there will be at least 20 to 30 premium lingerie brands in India thriving. And they may be D2C brand, they may be your traditional brands, but the evolution is very evident, I would say.
Jenny, few thoughts?
As I mentioned earlier, we've kind of seen some journeys in the south, and we've traditional neighborhood stores who have grown businesses in the last, probably 30 years, from a smaller area to a larger area. In fact, recently we had done a innerwear segment, which is one floor, which is about 8,000 square foot. I mean, it's amazing to see how in the multi-brand and distribution channel as well, both you have products which have value, products which have fashion, products which have a right mix for the current consumer. And that's a great space, because the opportunity for customer to see all brands is just there in the MBO sector. And I also feel that we see a large amount of experience that they would want to. And I think whether it's the south, and I've also seen in parts of west, where there is a very strong urge to scale in terms of store experience. So that's a great opportunity where design intervention can happen.
And how do Milind and Mr. Jain and Hari, so how do brands look these MBOs as a distribution channel, and how what brands can adopt strategies to drive profitability out of it? And what are your thoughts as brands on this?
See, in this business, Pareto is very profound. Like, I keep talking about jockey because that is the data which I know very well. So if you look at it, jockey reaches out to around 100,000 outlets, but 5,733 outlets out of these 100,000 outlets contribute to 56% of the total general trade business of jockey. So that is how profound the good multi-brand outlet clout is. I would like to use the word clout because they could get anything done from these manufacturers, from all the brands. So, what these set of stores, now if you go to, I'm again coming back to the success stories of these two gentlemen who are sitting here, because you should ask more about it. Because, since Jenny is also there, now if you go to a Savvy or if you go to a Balaji XLU, the experience and the decor stands out. I still remember once when I went to Deepak ji and I told him that, Deepak, I want to put my fixture there. He flatly refused. He said, see, listen, my decor is my decor. It's something which is a proven reason for consumers to walk into my space. And now if you want to keep your brand here, your brand has to blend it to my decor. Now, with a designer here, that is the difference that so that's the difference that these stores are creating. So now your question about the tier 2, tier 3 towns. Now there are a lot of lingerie or such stores which are chain stores where they are investing a fair amount of money in design.
The pull for the fashion show. When this question was asked, the first thing that comes to mind is where this industry is heading towards. If all of you would appreciate, if you look at, there was a MBO or EBO, how you call it, Zudio, which stepped in very shortly. Prior to that, the fast fashion was taken over by Big Bazaar. And fast fashion doesn't only mean fast fashion at a lower price. And lower price means lower margins. And now steps in Zudio. What it does is it disrupts the entire market. I wouldn't say luxury market, but other than luxury market, there was a customer shift. And it is not stopping here. What is the next behind Zudio? Who's the next one? We heard another name which the largest business house of India has tied up with. I hope everybody is aware of. Shein. And they're famous for fast fashion at a very low price. And how fast fashion? 130,000 patterns per year. Introducing 130,000 patterns per year. Unimaginable for an Indian fashion house to do in the lifetime. What to talk of year. So how to understand where the margins will come out from? Because the efficiencies, the product knowledge, everything has to be optimum to put the product pricing rightly, one, product costing rightly, and efficiency at all the levels, which is still a long way to go for the Indian manufacturers. We are very comfortable with everything else.
Sachin, your thoughts?
Sachin is into big manufacturing. I would want to know his views also.
See, Abhi, what is happening is right now, there has been shift as far as retail is concerned. MBOs, like, agar hum baat karte hain purani, so it was like more a traditional retail stores, which are very small stores. Some of them even don't have a try rooms and all these things. So things are moving away from them to the new age MBOs we are talking about, who are offering a customer a different experience, like Balaji. Actually, he rightly mentioned like these kind of stores are coming up. So what I see that in future also, because consumer is becoming more demanding, obviously there is going to be a shift of a business from a smaller stores which are, or maybe they are just become a more like a commodity kind of offering stores, smaller stores. Like smaller, I don't mean by size only, it's just by the kind of, because they offer almost everything in a smaller store. They work on very low margins, so they have that kind of efficiencies. But when we are talking about consumers who are looking for really experienced things, and especially if you are talking about lingerie, it's a specialized categories where it's more like we used to say that if a lady is using some particular product, so she keep on using because of loyalty factor, or she may not able to find an alternate for that. That was the reason earlier. Right now, like because there are so many options available, the experiences like stores are available with that, even not only just the basic like physical trial rooms, but also there are options like virtual trials and everything. So consumer is more prone to experiment things. So it's becoming more challenging. Obviously, that I would rather say that MBOs, if they are offering that kind of experience and everything, that is going to survive, and that will be actually what he rightly said, that a consumer need options at one point of time to compare. And because of that, MBOs are preferable destination for, especially for the products which are like where the consumer are more involved in the category, and it's like a not a basic commodity kind of purchase. So obviously it is going to increase, like, and if we brands and the players who are getting into like organized MBOs, I would rather say, if they work closely and collaborate together and understand each like everybody like understanding requirement of each other, then obviously that both can grow profitably. That's my take on this. Then your thoughts?
Yes. I do want you to record this clip and send it to every brand for this matter. So I think the biggest challenge at the moment is, we are changing with time, and even the biggest brands at points, I don't want to name, but they're still reluctant to change, or, just understand this fact where, we are in this boat together. It is not me as a retailer separately or that as a brand separately. And our relationship is not only bound to money where, if I send in some, if I get in some stock and that is the only responsibility a brand has. That thought has to change. Where brands and retailers or any channel partner of yours, they have to work as a team, understand challenges as a team, and, figure out a way what things can be done to solve each other. This is the biggest difference, and this is how things work in, let's say, an apparel market, right? You have a shop-in-shop module, things are very easy, things are very fluent. But here, there are very limited options with brands who at least have that thought where you want to, they don't have that enablement or that module in their brands where they will have someone for a modern trade or someone who can manage their SIS. Let's say the bigger brands have it, but not the brands which are at least, who just started, or even older brands for that matter. This thought is missing out in terms of, changing their process, or how do I put it? Like, they don't want to evolve to what the next level is. So this is something which has to change where, that thought for both of us doing something together and tackling a problem, the game changes altogether. If I have to enable, if I want to give out a space of, let's say, 8 feet for a brand within the store, I will have only 2 to 3 options or 4 options at max where the brand will be able to manage that by themselves. But if you look at the apparel segment altogether, that won't be the scenario there. You will have probably a scenario vice versa. So I think this thought has to change, and brands will have to evolve with what the demand is in the market. They will have to adapt to what the thought is with getting inclined with your channel partners and it is only going to help both of us grow, not just one. So I think there should be one change, and I do want you to talk to a lot of, not talk to, but at least do communicate how.
Very, very well noted, sir. Apart from the consumer.
I think, Milind, what you have just now suggested has already started happening.
So you have seen that and you have done that, at least Jockey has grown because you have taken that initiative to, get this change done far before even this market was evolved.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. See, the lingerie space actually slowly moving into what happened to the cosmetic space. So like in cosmetic space, what happens? The retailer creates a nice environment for the consumer to walk in, and the brands take booths inside the retail space. Now, if you look at it across the country, you will have a fairly large 2000 square feet of personal product space where each brand, they'll hire the best of designers. It is a combination like what Jenny was explaining, between the MBO retailer and the designer to create that environment and create a lot of booths. And the same thing is happening to the lingerie space now. So not only in the metro cities, the same thing is happening in the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities as well.
Sir, I just have a change of opinion here. So we have been doing this since the past 25 years. And now, since the past 6 months, we've actually changed the entire scenario where we want to work on a more solution-based strategy in terms of merchandising rather than a branded orientation. So if we're talking about, this change happening now, the players are 25 years late because we've done that 25 years in the past. And when we want to move to the next step, I don't have the capability of brands supporting me to help me for that. That is a challenge.
This was the key challenge. I noted out this question for my last, but thank you for bringing this up. We will also make a note, and I think my team will also put something on because we also focus on the consumer.
I think you should have sessions of modern trade and all of this in the fair, and less of this and more of that.
No, rightly said, Milind. Rightly said. My next question is to Mr. Jain. I just want to be want to understand as a consultant myself, socks as a category, which is not really talked about. Where do you see that category, or where do you compare it with the other intimate wear apparel category? Because we have seen this category is getting evolved. There is premiumization happening. Men specifically have started evolving and started buying from the more branded stuff. So where do you see socks as a category going to go?
Socks is not far from lingerie. Socks, if we really see it, as you rightly said, in the men's, that is the fashion element. It has become into the whole attire. This is the fashion element because lingerie is inside, it's not seen. The socks could be seen a little bit of it. So the real person's, personality can be seen in his socks. This is how it is evolving. That's one. Number two, people have started focusing more on their socks wardrobes. So they really want to choose because of the abundance of availability of design options with the modern machinery, modern process houses and everything. The possibilities are immense. So once the availability and possibilities are, one is able to choose. And since it's becoming a fashion statement, plus, that is the only colorful element into the whole attire. Even if you see, even the person with 50 years plus of age would want to wear a very colorful socks. So that is one change which is happening, particularly in men's. Then socks can also be seen with a functionality. If you say in girls particularly, yoga socks. So socks is something which can be very helpful while doing yoga. Then dancing socks. And the third functionality is to safeguard from the winters, extreme winters. We produce socks even for a climate which is below minus 40 degrees. So somebody wants to do skiing, somebody wants to do footballing, the playing socks, different, because different architecture of the socks are required for different purposes. So socks is not just fashion, not just comfort, it's much more than that. One has to look at that angle of the socks, and still India is evolving. Because of our tropical climate, one understands socks is just a socks is just a socks. But slowly things are changing and people are understanding. One is the fashion side, one is the utility side, performance side. So there's a lot to happen on the sock side.
And in terms of
I'll give you some data. See, because of my FMCG experience, I speak about data more. See, how do I get it? Okay, this is good. Bata is India's largest footwear brand. Now, Bata manufactures, produces and sells 5 crores of footwear. Out of these 5 crores of footwear, 2.5 crores is closed footwear. When I speak about closed footwear, I mean is that these closed footwear require socks. Now, Bata, when you look at the organized segment, Bata market share is around 30%. So if it had 2.5 crores, that is 30%, then the organized footwear universe is around 8 crores. Now the per capita consumption of socks in India is 3 to 4 pairs annually in the organized segment. Now 8 crore socks would mean the market is something like you need annually 24 crore socks. Now, again, I'll tell you, Jockey sells 2.5 crores for a turnover of 250 crores. Now, just imagine that is 10% of the market share. So, and this is growing by leaps and bounds. And, we have Mr. Jain, he's an authority on socks. I would give anything to be in his shoes for any time, because that's the kind of potential this market has. And I'm only talking about the organized segment, which has got this 24 crore potential. If you just look at the unorganized, if it is 8 crores is the organized, the unorganized is 10 times, which is 80 crores. And if it is 80 crores, even if you look at the unorganized at 2 pairs annualized, you're talking about 160 crores. Adding to this 824 crores. You're talking about a socks requirement in India annually at 200 crores. I'm talking about 200 crore socks alone. That's the size of the Indian market when it comes to socks, and that is the potential.
Milind, you want to add something?
That's so true. I would put it, the numbers may be even more. Because we have certain data of socks being manufactured in India and socks being imported in India. So, put together, even the number is more, one, and it's growing every day. As I said, the penetration of the e-commerce into the rural markets, the online business for socks is growing, and the per capita income everywhere, which is growing, is helping one to have more number of pairs per year than what it was. Quick commerce is the next thing. This is a subject which is,
Quick commerce is really one of the reasons for the essential part of the apparel to take it to the next stage. And two of the biggest beneficiaries of the quick commerce market are socks and undergarments.
I completely endorse this because we even never imagined 1 year ago when we started the quick commerce. The numbers of quick commerce are amazing. Amazing. Why people are in so much of a hurry? They don't give time to buying. Even luggages. Now, luggage is being sold on quick commerce.
Any challenges that you see on the quick commerce or
the only challenge is for the e-commerce people. At the end, brands is selling here or here.
No, traditional retail is getting killed by quick commerce.
Absolutely. I think these neighborhood stores and neighborhood markets will face a challenge in terms of I think undergarments, especially the men undergarments, is like FMCG only. So FMCG products like socks, undergarments, and this will definitely face a huge challenge from quick commerce, especially the neighborhood stores, these standalone MBOs. Definitely.
Socks is ideally positioned because it is size agnostic. You don't have a problem in size also.
It is. I think socks is all about distribution.
Correct. Right placement.
One thing came in the starting of the section, we talked about social media and the influence of social media on the people and their buying behavior. So any thoughts on that, and how brands are getting aligned on that part? Because
that's a new way to
Gen Z and Gen Alpha generation.
That's a new way to make your brand and keep your brand alive. to put it, and there's a lot of cost into it.
I think social media is influencing the pattern hugely. If you see this, nowadays the trend is of active, being fit. So now we see a lot of demand for products like sportswear, sports bra, and all these things because of this social media influence. People they want to look fit, they want to be fit. So we have a lot of demand for seamless products, a lot of demand for multi-way lingerie. I would say there is a very thin line between innerwear and outerwear. So they are now
That is, I
merging.
think, the athleisure wear, which is the
Yeah.
category which has
So
evolved in since COVID.
you have sportswear is worn as a outerwear. You have leggings with no panty lines. So these kind of products are growing because of social media influence, and it will grow, I think.
This is creating, demand for products which don't exist. Social media. So we are actually seeing a lot of customers coming in and products are available on social media on a very niche level where someone starts something in-house and they make a very small category of it, and that suddenly goes viral. Some trend, whatever it can be. So we are seeing a lot of customers coming within the stores, pointing out that we want exactly this. But this is not available with brands on a larger scale. That is only possible when you have a niche segment or a niche category you've created for yourself, and those brands can possibly fulfill it. But social media altogether has impacted and created new pockets for us retailers or brands to fill in, which has become a huge challenge to deal with.
But Mike, I think, Milind, wouldn't these micro influencers help? Because in my experience, the micro influencers, like for example, we started a store in Hennur. Hennur is a small pocket in Bangalore. So initially we thought, okay, we've started a store, and suddenly, since one of our partners is Puma, they have these micro influencer network. So we hired one of these micro influencers to just drive traffic to our store. And there were 3 small kids, you can say, between the age of 22, 23. They have got a followership of around 15,000 to 20,000. And they took some 8,000 rupees to put a couple of reels, and that weekend we got sold out. I mean, the impact of the micro influencer is something unbelievable. You have these, you have a store, whichever location is there, you have micro influencers who can attract traffic to that store.
Absolutely, I agree with you. The kind of influence they have, it's commendable. And it's very quick. I think the response is also, and social media, the good thing about the social media is measurability. The amount you spend, you can see the results. You can count the results. So I think this influence is growing, and it will keep on growing in terms of product, not just product, in terms of marketing and promotion also.
Cost effective.
Very cost effective.
So in continuation to this, what you said, imagine you're building a 150,000 square foot of a multi-brand outlet. The requirement that came in was from the owner saying that I'd like to create a selfie or a space which will allow micro influencers to come in and create events within the store. So I think keeping the social media influences is very important for any brand. When I think what happens in an EBO format, I think more or less the stores are made to accommodate the kind of traffic and rush that would bring in. But when you're looking in a tier 2 city, the scale is larger. Therefore, what we've done in the past is almost like a 200 square foot of space has been genuinely created to create this design intervention for social, influencers coming in. 200 square foot in a retail space is quite large, but today I think that's a new requirement that's coming to us. So that defines that we have to keep track of what the Gen Z is also looking at, selfie points. They want to have interactive spaces. They want freshness even in that space. So what we've done is we've created these modules depending on the marketing calendar or the festive calendar. So that's something that one should also look at. Yeah.
Just to add on, like a medium is as good as its user is. So from the brand's perspective, I am talking about like if you are reluctant to change with the demands, like because social media is making consumers more and more aware whatever is available not only just in India but abroad, so they have access to that. So because of that, if you are reluctant to change, then it is a killer for that brand perspective. Social media is a killer for the brand which is not going to change. But somebody who is willing to change, it can also help us, because earlier, if we can recall, even if we do some innovative products, it took so much of efforts and energy to even first convince our distributor and then retailers, and then it is placed there, and you never know it is going to sell or not. So the challenge was huge at that time. But right now, if you launch a new product which is like related to a particular, it is solving any particular problem of a consumer which is there, you can very well advertise it on the social media at a very low cost. If you social media is not that cheap, but in contrast to, like, you can do a targeted segment, you can do test market also through that. So in that way, it is very helpful to offer a product solution or oriented products also to consumers from the brand's perspective also.
And I think you can also capture consumer feedback, and then
That is there. You can run contests, you can have feedbacks from them directly. So there are so many ways you can test your products also. If, whether there is a actual demand is there or not, you can even start selling on through your own website or e-commerce portals, do a social media marketing, and once the concept is set, you can go to your regular market also, which may be right now for the older brands like ours is still a major contributor to our sales is from the conventional trade only.
And I think the new age brands, or the brands, the D2C brands and all these brands, they can also develop a lot of strategies basis this.
They are actually doing it. They are very good at it. So what I would say that older brands are very good in manufacturing and marketing on the conventional trade. They are growing up and learning the new things. And on the other hand, the new age brands are normally good in marketing. They understand the consumer. They know how to provide a solution like to consumers for their actual problems. And they are doing tie-ups with the manufacturer like us also, like to get that product manufactured. So it is like a win-win situation for both of us. If we can collaborate together and work together, it is for both of us.
So one advice from, I think, all of you to the new age brands.
Am I talking too much of time here? No. See, if you look at this category, D2C is still less than 10%. So if you look at the channel share of the pie, 70% is still the traditional apparel stores and the multi-brand stores. Then you have 9%, which is the exclusive brand stores. Large format is still around 5 to 6%. The company the size of Jockey, they might do around 550 crores in the e-com space this year, but it's still around 10% of their total turnover. So if you look at it, all these brands which are coming in, they should actually work on the Pareto of this business and ensure that they target those outlets, because the Pareto is very profound. And Milind, given his experience in retail, he's come out with a problem statement saying that brands should be willing to partner retail and work towards coming up with solutions in that space. I think these are the people who are very nimble, and they would be the first to adapt to requirements of retailers. I think that would be one advice that I would give to all these D2C brands who would like to look at it, because D2C, today the fad is to be only online, but the customer acquisition cost is so high that if they completely ignore the offline space, especially in a segment where the D2C space is less than 10%, one of the things that they need to do is they need to partner with these chain stores which have already done very well for themselves and ensure that they find favored space there.
My personal experience, what I have seen over last few years post-COVID. Now imagine a new brand. Somebody wants to start a new brand for anything, for a lingerie or a socks or something similar. What are these options? He has a good marketing. For example, somebody was a marketing personal, very successful marketing personal somewhere, and he wants to start his new brand. That is what people do. And he has a limited amount of money. He will prepare a wonderful offering to the customer with all his experience gone into it, start the social media, place the brand on online in the first place. Today the brands are made online. They're not being made offline as far as I understood. And then they shift to offline. So the customer offering from that brand and the thrust is so fast that immediately catches up. But out of 10, 8 brands I've seen drying up their funds and wasting the whole of the effort what they've done in 1 or 2 years. So my question to everybody, if somebody can answer, what is the solution to this? They're not taking a slower route, what all of us have spent 2 decades or 3 decades creating whatever we are, which somebody wants to do in a year or 2, which is possible, but how deep are the pockets? Some of the brands will get funding. Again, it will last for 1 more year, and then when the funding finishes, still the balance sheet is not showing anything. It's still showing a negative profit. What is the next step? We are talking of valuations. But in our trade, I'm yet to see too many of those. Getting sold at valuations just by creating an online brand for 2 years. So this is something which is, to the new brands, they have to, have the right perspective, right consultation, that step 1, step 2, step 3, 3-year or 5-year plan, not just today's plan.
They are in a rush. They're not on a way to build a brand.
Yeah.
So
they're the quick commerce of brands.
Quick commerce of brands.
They are not in a rush. The investors are in a rush. They are compelled to be in a rush because of the investors.
Again, it depends whether they actually want to create a brand or they just want to create valuation.
I think both. Because valuation will come with the brand.
But if you want to make a business, you have to go slow. You can't do it in a 2-year or 3-year period.
Sustenance kidhar se aayega slow mein?
Absolutely. You have to be sustainable and you have to be slow, and I think omnichannel is the route. I was talking to someone and they were saying that in India, if you are only an e-commerce brand, you can't grow beyond 100 and 150 crores. It's very difficult. It's almost, and I was talking to a person who is already created some 30-40 e-commerce brands. So it's very difficult to grow a e-commerce brand beyond 100 and 150 crores. So you have to be multi-channel, omni-channel, and that's the only way. And if you're offline channel, you can't grow overnight. It takes time.
I think it's the ecosystem, if you're seeing multiple industries, I think the ecosystem drives that speed that they want, evaluation, and then there is a lot of businesses where they want to exit. They're looking at, that's long term of building an industry or long term in terms of building a brand. I think things have changed now. You can see that in multiple industries, this scenario, So I think one is to keep things really organic. Second, to have speed, because without speed, then there is also time and, finances and, economy and things like that, which get depleted. So I think it should be a very conscious effort in businesses, with the industry.
I think the EOS should be done responsibly. That is one fact which I think a lot of, when I think, or a lot of people think online, for some reason it is associated with things being cheap, which I think has to change, and that shouldn't be the only orientation for going online, or that shouldn't be the only approach for going online. Because over time, if you just compare what manpower costs were pre-COVID and post-COVID, they've shot up, and this is constantly going to rise. And I don't know how long this business is really sustainable if you're going to sell it for this pricing where you just bought it or you're under cost selling it. I am not sure how long that is going to be sustainable or even reliable. So this thought of cheap and that mentality around it has to be removed, or rather, upgraded to something more efficient and sustainable. That is one suggestion I have to a lot of brands which are, onlinely present or want to aspire for online. So this is one change I would really, really want to see.
See, over a period of time, like for example, in food, the convenience has overcome the economy factor. And if you look at quick commerce, there is no discounting involved in quick commerce. So I think, what you are saying is slowly evolving. I don't know how long it will take, but essentially the challenge is both the success stories that we have in India today, the Zudio or the quick commerce, arithmetically, both can never be profitable. Now, the only way that these two things can become profitable is by one, if you look at quick commerce, by wiping out the traditional retail and compelling the consumer who would have already gotten into that habit to pay for the delivery cost. Or the second would be to have a mechanized delivery or something of that kind. So what you are saying is, I think, slowly evolving. Now, how long will it take? Like for example, Zudio. My friend supplies to Zudio. He supplies at 123 rupees for a T-shirt, and it sells at 199. Now, you can just work out the maths and find out how will it ever be profitable. Now, these are things which we'll understand over a period of time.
Neither the supplier nor the Zudio.
No, so we've seen a lot of, so Hyderabad is a very, become a very metropolitan market since at least since the past 10, 15 years. Because a lot of new IT companies and all of this segment coming into the market. And we have stores where, we are associating with this crowd as well. And especially within the stores, we've seen, women come down and try the sizes there, scan that online, figure out where the price is cheaper and just walk out of the store. So this is evolving, but I think it is evolving for the worse because quick commerce end of the day is there, but I don't think every market can be considered under quick commerce. Apparel altogether will again have a more dominance towards e-commerce and this chain. There was a time when the government had to intervene and tell you can't sell for this cheap, like Amazon and Flipkart. I think this was 5-6 years back. So this is, I don't think anything has changed past, but brands do have to change this perspective for, online is cheap or anything which is online, you'll get it for cheaper. So this will have to evolve.
Jain was speaking about Shein. Now, if you look at China, 37% of the Chinese market is online. Okay, that is a scary number. India is still around 9 to 12%. But you are talking about China, which is already evolved. The 37% of the apparel market is online in China now. So, see, what has happened in China will happen to India, tomorrow or the day after. So, how it is going to happen, whether it will be the cost factor, which is going to be in a way the consumer, or whether it is the convenience factor.
So I used to do my master's in London back in 2017, and online was, of course, even big then. And one differentiation which was very evident and loud to me was, online was a convenience premium which you had to pay in that country. And here, like I mentioned earlier as well, that was not the case in India. India was more, the perspective was towards things being cheaper and on that front.
Yeah, so that's exactly the point. Both these economies are very similar. If you look at the tendency or what is the reason for them to buy. Now, if you look at the Indian consumer, see, Niti Aayog's data says that 54% of the Indian population is going to be between the age group of 20 to 35, 30 months from now. You're talking about a whopping 70 crore people. It's not a small number. Now, if you have that sort of a population who would like to have fast fashion, there is a threat. Now, but the other advantage is that if people are used to organized brands, there is always the tendency to be aspirational. Now, that is a trigger. And that is where the design experience, the store purchase experience, that comes into play. Now, if it is already like what if Jenny is saying that a multi-brand outlet is keeping 200 square feet space for an influencer to capture that and put it online, that is a very encouraging sign. That means that, it is a proven methodology. So I believe that when the market size is going to be exponentially growing, These are all factors which will aid to the benefit of the brands.
Mani, how I look at it is, if you go back a few years ago, I'll share an experience of mine. 2017, I was to buy a camera, Sony Alpha, and I did the same thing. I went to a large multi-brand store of a camera store, and I took all the display, understood everything, and then he had to match my online price. And he matched it. So the answer is there. You have to match it. And once you match it, then the customer is yours. You come, online prices, offline experience.
I did the same. I was on the streets of Shibuya and I did the same.
There is one more aspect to it. Because right now what we see, if I have to buy a new phone or some new car even, so what you do your online research. These are the products available. You compare the features and you end up buying it offline. Because you might have some relationship or you want to, at times you don't want to take risk or you want to experience it because you have compared the features, but when real experience comes from the retail store. Besides that, what question you asked, coming back to that question that what advice I would give to any D2C brand. First of all, for me, D2C is something which is direct to consumer. So I consider online as well as your EBOs or maybe shop and shop kind of concepts, all part of D2C as per my understanding, because you are directly serving to consumers. What Rajkumar said, that D2C brands are normally going over aggressive and end up losing entire money and may not survive. So the idea is like they have to first do their maths correct. As far as India is concerned, we are talking about 150 crore people. So there are different kind of, like, you segment them. There are different segments already there in the market. There are people who are like very much price conscious. There are people who don't bother, like quick commerce we're talking about. Like like 2 days back only I was ordering one milk pack for me. So that was costing 40 rupees and the total price was 95 I end up paying. So for 40 rupees product I paid 55 rupees because I don't mind paying it, that's why I paid. I'm just giving an example. So D2C brand has to see what is its target segment, whether they are targeting a particular customer, what kind of attributes. Somebody may be looking for experiences also, somebody may be looking for convenience, somebody is price conscious. So if you are clear with your target segment and considering that target segment, if you put your maths and you feel that over a period of 5 years, 6 years, you are at least able to achieve break even or be in the profit, that is the strategy you should follow. Otherwise, you may end up same thing, like you may take money and you may like you build a brand with a valuation, sold it off, make money for yourself, but end of the day, you will not end up having any brand build up for you or a long-term thing. That's my perspective on it.
I think rightly said. I think a lot of brands must be hearing this. Just to close the session, I just wanted to know, in one word, the biggest game changer in the segment, in one word. What would be the biggest game changer?
One word is difficult. Omnichannel. Omnichannel has to be the game changer. But if there are a lot of techies here, I would like them to develop an app, which is like an Uber app or something, where, all the multi-brand outlets will become dark stores. And the app will become an aggregator for our category. That's something which I'm not a techie. So if there are people with that kind of a prowess, I think they should look at developing an Uber for, that's when the omni-channel actually will come to exist. Omni-channel has to be the game changer for our industry at least.
What I was asking Milind is, the only option is online prices, offline experience. Anyhow, talk to the brands and let them help you match, for which the offline channel has to understand their expenses, their store locations, their store ambiences, the per square feet of expenses. And if they're able to optimize that to match the sales versus margins, then probably that, we want it or not, but that is going to happen. Which happens first? We act first or we act later? Optimize everything.
See, for me, like on the same lines, I would say like efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. That's all. Efficiency in understanding consumer demands, efficiency in fulfilling them, efficiency in like in terms of whether it is costing, or efficiency in your promotions. So wherever, whatever you're doing, using AI or whatever technology you're using, but it is end of the day, if you are able to serve customer efficiently, I think you're going to be there.
Be efficient. Jenny?
I think this offline and online, experience being the same will only lead us to a better, businesses and brand experiences.
The meta experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one word. I'm not sure one word can't justify, but I think just conceptualize and understand what you're doing. That is an important factor. A concept, and that is a strategy.
If I have to use one word, I would say data. Data will drive the world. Whether we use the AI, immersive technologies, virtual try-ons, or any technology, data will be at the forefront, and that's where MBO will be very important.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Any questions from the audience?
This is Salil Chawla, DFP Publications. I think great panel, lot to learn, very enlightening. I have to compliment, very rich in experience and diverse. So as a start point, and what has resonated with me, I think the flavor of this session was quick commerce, quick commerce, quick commerce. If that is the case, if that is the future, as a start point, India is a very youthful country with around 27 to 28 years of median age, largely driven by as a growth engine in the economy by Instamart or say Insta generation of the day, Obviously, they are looking for instant gratification. So anything instant, call it quick commerce or whatever, My question is that given that we still are juggling between the two ends, on one end, it is still very traditional industry. On the other hand, we are also trying to jump on the bandwagon, of both modern retail as well as online, and quick commerce is coming as a silver lining. So where do we see? Do you think that can it be transformative or disruptive? Anyone can answer the question. Thank you.
How I look at it is, why quick commerce is prospering? We have to go back there. Quick commerce is primarily prospering for the ease. And who is the one who's wanting this ease? Is this Gen Z. I was talking to somebody 2 days ago, why they're always in urgency? Why can't they plan? And slowly the discussion came in. The person was really good to do, really rich person. And he said, I travel economy class and my son travels business class. He doesn't bother. Why he doesn't bother? Because he's a rich man's son, I was a poor man's son. So this is the reason why even the delivery charge on a quick commerce will be paid. So the commerce is there to stay. Everybody has to fall in line. Amazon is coming up with a quick commerce very soon, very shortly. Everybody else, even Flipkart, all the e-commerce people are coming with quick commerce. And then the same quick commerce, as rightly Hari said, the offline stores should create an app of quick commerce. Probably that is the solution.
Both the channels can exist.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I thought that if I don't pitch in and point, say a couple of things, it wouldn't be appropriate. Thank you, Milind, for mentioning Covera. So we are a new age multi-branded retail outlet, precisely what you guys were talking about. What different we've done from traditional MBOs is that we've gotten D2C brands for the first time in the offline space. So brands such as Bummer, Nexusera, Kai Resort Wear, Tizzy Swimwear. So these are brands that were performing really well in the online space, particularly Instagram. And we've gotten them offline for the first time. And the response has been incredible in terms of the customer experience, because what the points that you guys mentioned, we are closely working with brands on a day-to-day level. The coordination, the communication is easy. If we give them a feedback, the products get made immediately and sent to our retail store. So in general, the customers are really appreciating this model that we've tried to create for them.
I think what Mr. Jain prescribed, you are already doing it. All the very best.
Any other question? Okay, I think thank you. Thank you everyone.